First this evening, today marks 2 years since the shooting death of Jared Bridegan, and his accused killers were back in a courtroom this morning.
So here are 3 things to know about what led to this point in the Bridegan's family's search for justice. He was shot and killed in Jacksonville Beach, in a neighborhood where his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, lived. He was shot after dropping off his 2 oldest children with their mother. Police
say the man who pleaded guilty to pulling the trigger, Henry Tenen, was a former tenant of Gardner's now estranged husband, Mario Fernandez Saldana.
Gardner and Fernandez have both pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and other charges in Bridegan's death. And Gardner and Fernandez appearing in court today for a pretrial hearing in this murder case. Katie Jeffries has been following every step of the case. She was in the courtroom today for that hearing.
Jared Bridegan's ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, and her second husband, Mario Fernandez, were back in courtroom 308 here this morning. And what was anticipated to be a quick scheduling hearing turned out to be so much more. Kirsten Bridegan was also there, sitting next to her, State Attorney Melissa Nelson. Now, the focus of this hearing was to set a date to hear arguments about an issue with evidence and whether or not the State Attorney's Office should stay on this case. The defense team say attorney-client privileged communications were uploaded to a Next Point site, which is kind of like a cloud, and that prosecutors had access to that. Now, the defense wants the State Attorney's Office 4th Judicial Circuit removed from the case. The prosecutors say they did not open or view those files, but there are 2 specific documents being disputed. Now, Shanna's defense did say that after doing depositions on this issue, they feel it is a bigger issue than they initially thought, and they said they will be filing a motion to dismiss the indictment against Shanna Gardner, though they have not filed that just yet. Now, Judge London Kite is overseeing this trial, but she has decided to ask for an independent judge to hear these arguments over the evidence issue, since it potentially involves attorney-client privileged emails. Now, Shanna Gardner's defense team also previously had filed a motion to have a bond hearing in this case, but it was decided today that they will essentially handle the evidence issue and the issue with the state attorney's office before they take up the bond issue. They are expected back here in court, Gardner and Fernandez, on March 4th, and we will keep you updated in this case. Reporting at the Duval County Courthouse, Katie Jeffries, First Coast News, on your side.
And still a long way to go in the legal proceedings against Bridegan's accused killers.
Our Riley Phillips is joining us now in the newsroom with a look at the next steps in this process. Riley.
Yes, we learned a lot about this case in the last 24 hours. Not only do investigators believe 2 other people may have been involved in Jared Bridegan's death, but we're also watching this battle in the courtroom play out over whether the state attorney's office will be removed from this case. Our crime and safety analyst Mark Bachman says usually investigators and attorneys are going to download all the evidence in discovery and then carefully go through each conversation. If it does look like something between the attorney and client, they know not to look because it could jeopardize their entire affidavit to go through the phones and emails in the first place. And Bachman believes the evidence is being challenged right now because Shanna Gardner and Mario Fernandez are being tried together.
Them seated together at the table, knowing they've been charged with conspiracy, they do look a little more guiltier that way. That's why the defense is making every effort they can to change the venue because of the notoriety of the case. Try to dismiss it on any technicality you have. They're getting the evidence. They see the evidence. And at the same time, try to sever the case where you can try 2 of them separately.
Bachman also credited the judge during today's hearing for suggesting bringing in an independent judge to rule on the evidence dispute. Again, Gardner and Fernandez are scheduled to be back in court on March 4th. In the newsroom, Riley Phillips, First Coast News, on your side.
Riley, thank you. And our coverage of the death of Jared Bridegan continues right now in the First Coast News app. You can read more about what happened today in court, what's ahead in this case, and you can see our past stories on what's led up to this point.